Welcome, 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 everyone, to You've Championed Yourself. Who are you? I'm Chris Ferguson, your host. It has always been a dream of mine to showcase people, ordinary people, doing extraordinary things for themselves and humanity. Those are the ones who have taken their dreams and their ideas and turned it into their reality. Whereas so many people can't reach beyond their pains, their struggles, their traumas, and give up. They lose hope. The people I'm talking about can walk through their obstacles and their challenges, not knowing where it's going to take them, but they trust themselves enough not to give up. They do the follow through in their personal life, their career, and in relationships. These are the people that I call champions. Today, I have an amazing lady here. I think the world of her. She's so energetic. She's so self-serving to humanity and others. And I'd like to invite Elvira to the podcast. Hello.
Hello, Chris. How are you? And it's pronounced Elvira.
Sorry, you said that and I said Elvira. I am so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm horrible with names. I apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. I still love you, Chris.
I'm so honored and I'm so excited when you agreed to come on my podcast. I was like, oh yes, I've arrived. I've got her on my podcast. I love your messages. I love what you do. I found out some things that you do that I love as frequencies and music. And that is just goes from my heart center. That just touches me.
Oh my God.
So today I wanted to talk to you, if you're willing to talk about your backstory, how you went, what did you call it, from a crap magnet to a miracle magnet?
Yes.
I love that. I'm like, oh my God, she's speaking my life.
Absolutely. Well, most of us heart-centered people, or as I like to say, heart-centered humans, we do go through, very low places because we're so kind, because we're so sensitive. Most of us are empaths, we're artists, we're healers, right? We're the people that had to go to the dark, the wounded healers that can help people to the light. So we can all relate to being a crap magnet at some point in our lives. And I was one of the biggest crap magnets on the planet. And that's why I have a system that not only helped me, but it's now become a world movement. People are using it to help others and on my platform, as well as having their own system on my platform too. So I believe it's not just one person's story, message, and magic that matters, Chris. I believe it's all of our stories, messages, and magic that matter. And that's what my online platform is about. Someone said to me recently, Elvira, you're like a modern day Louise Hay. And I'm like, whoa, that's a compliment. Oh, and, God rest her soul. She's amazing. And I thought about it and I said, yeah, they're kind of right. Because what did Louise Hay do? She shone a light on all these amazing light workers. They wrote their books on Hay House Publishing. She took them around the world to do the I Can Do It seminars, right? So she shone a light on them so that they could help humanity heal and evolve, right? So this is what I'm doing. I've got this beautiful online platform where light worker leaders are using it to share not only my system that saved my life, that helped me to go from crap magnet to miracle magnet, but also they will share their own programs on my site as well, because it's all of our stories, our messages, and magic that matter. So that's what I feel.
Oh, I love that. But again, it just shows your heart center. And it shows that you're truly about humanity. And that's where it is. Yeah. Because when you're able to help people tell their stories, you empower them.
Yeah. And they heal and they help humanity heal.
And but then they pay it forward.
Yes.
It's just like I wrote this speech recently. It's from abandon to unconditionally loving. And it is of my childhood, and it is of all the things that I went through. But to get beyond and be able to empower people to know it's not how you define yourself, it's how you take the step.
Yes. Major chills. Sorry, let me just turn off my phone here so nobody bothers us. 1 second. Okay. So I totally get it, Chris. And I'm on the same page with you, sister. And I don't know, how much time do I have to tell my backstory?
You can tell your backstory well. I don't have anywhere to go for like 45 minutes.
Okay. All right. I just want to get an idea. No, so do you want to know the makings of a crap magnet, how it all started?
Absolutely.
Okay. So here's how it started. I like to start with this because it's the beginning. I've sung and danced since I leapt out of the womb. Okay. I'm an artist. I'm an entertainer. I just love to see people smile and like to think that I had a little part in that. Right. So what I was with my whole life was this crazy kid that jumped around and, was always a nuisance and whatnot. And all of a sudden, we came to Canada. I was born in Naples, Italy. We came to Canada when I was 5. And I started off as a skinny little kid when I came to Canada. But when we arrived, there was a lot of hardship. My parents were very, let's just say they felt they made the wrong choice bringing us to Canada. And they were very, they struggled with depression, anxiety. My mom had OCD, she still does. And my dad's been gone 10 years, God rest his soul. But when they came to Canada, there was a lot of hardship. And me being the sensitive child, the artistic child, the empath child, I took it on. And what did I do? I ate my emotions. I became this roly-poly little kid, 11 years old. I'm sitting in the audience at this amazing cabaret show. Okay. My dad worked in this restaurant downstairs and this cabaret show was going on upstairs. And I'm sitting there. I was the only kid in the audience. This I remember. I was the only kid in the audience. And my dad was either babysitting me that night and stuck me there, hoping no one would see me, or I insisted on going because my dad worked at this place and it had a downstairs restaurant, upstairs cabaret show. Anyway, I'm there. I don't know, obviously it was destiny for me to be there. I'm there. I'm watching these goddesses on stage and they're singing and they're dancing and they're so dramatic and beautiful. Their hair, their makeup, and their clothes. And I am like this fat little Italian kid sitting in the audience, completely in love with these women on stage. Afterwards, the show's over. My dad goes, "Would you like to meet them?" And I'm like, I can meet them? I felt like I was meeting the queens of the world. So wow. I go to the backstage and my dad's like, "Ladies, this is my daughter, Elvira." "Joe, this is your daughter. Oh, she's so beautiful." And I'm like, "I'm beautiful? I'm a fat little Italian kid. You're beautiful. You're beautiful for saying I'm beautiful." So Chris, that was the first time I felt seen, truly seen in my life, because I was just the annoying child that jumped around a lot and was always told to sit down and shut up. These women, they got me. They saw that there was something in my eyes, in my smile, that I was one of them, just a few years behind. So here's what happens. I walk away with my dad, totally in love with these women. I said, "Daddy, I want to be one of them when I grow up." My dad, quick backstory on him, comes from very puritanical parents who were very serious people who had these expectations of their children, their 7 children, that their children were going to be good, decent people. My father could sing like Pavarotti, but the message he got from his parents was that good men are not on stages singing. Good men are good fathers, husbands, providers. That's what good men do. His sister, my aunt, she was on world-class opera stages before she was married. When she got married, she had to hang up her opera gown, Chris, put on an apron, and wasn't allowed to step foot another opera stage ever again, because good women were good mothers and wives and take care of their children. So that was the thinking. That was the, the programming. Yeah. The programming that they received, right, as children. So here's the daughter that comes along at 11 years old and sees that this is who she is and she wants to be this. So I say to my daddy, "Daddy, I want to be one of them when I grow up." Guess what my dad said to me, Chris?
"No, that is not for good girls to do."
Yeah. But here's how he said it. It was a little stronger than that.
Oh, I was trying to be nice.
Yeah. He says to me, "Chris, Elvira, you can't be one of those women because those women are sluts."
Ooh.
And that was it. I wasn't allowed to be me anymore, Chris. I had to pretzel myself into whatever they needed me to be. Here's what I said to myself that night. I remember, "Okay, Daddy, I'm not allowed to be who I want to be. Who do you need me to be so you will love me?" And that is when the people pleasing started. That is when imposterhood started. That is when living out of alignment started. That is when I had to hide my gifts. And anytime I did sing or dance, it was always with a sense of shame and judgment. I did dance 1 year professionally. So let me back up and say, I chose not 1, but 2 very glamorous healthcare careers to make my parents happy, because they came to Canada to give us a better life. So, by gosh, by darn it, I was a good little Catholic girl. I was going to give them what they wanted. So I became a lab technologist. I worked in Princess Margaret Hospital, big cancer institute globally. I worked in cancer research for 7 years. Wanted to slit my wrists after doing that. I got plucked out of that to do pharmaceutical sales for 20 years. It was a little better, but still, it's not who I truly was. Who I was an artist, a healer. I was always a coach. I was here to help humanity through my gifts, as they were emerging. I knew that I was here for something bigger. So what happens is, I'm going to try to condense some of this. I saw a friend leave the pharmaceutical industry to become a coach, and I didn't know, like, she looked so different. She and I used to work on the same team when I was a pharma rep, and we used to job share actually when our kids were little. And I hadn't seen her for about a year, and I go to her place, and she looks so calm and beautiful and relaxed. She used to have really square jaw, like she was always stressed, and had a square jaw. Yeah. She's now nice and soft. There's no furrows in her brow anymore. She's like totally relaxed. I'm like, what have you done? Like, you look amazing. And she's like, well, Elvira, in the last year, I've become a life coach. And I'm like, what the hell's a life coach? And she said, well, you help people grow from where they are to where they want to be, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, people pay you for that? Like, I couldn't believe that was actually a job, right? So that night, this is how my mentor, A.G. Morishita, shout out to him, would call it. I punched a hole in the universe that night. Here's what I did. I said, I don't know what the hell she did, but one day I'm doing it too. So that was it. I got this amazing psychic reading that same night, which is another story. I'll tell you the longer version some other time. But I went into work that next week. My boss got let go mysteriously. I saw my friend leave. My boss hired me at the highest salary, biggest car, biggest expense account. My head was really big. My ego was huge. He's suddenly gone. So I know my life's going to be very different now without my mentor there. I could have easily said, oh, my friend just left the industry to become a coach. I'm going to go do it too. Instead, what kicks in is my ego. My ego says, oh, Scott's gone. Maybe it's a sign I'm meant to be the manager. So what do? I compete for his job with my male colleague, who was an alpha male. God bless him. Win at all costs. We used to be really good friends. We were actually work spouses. But when we were pitted against each other, there was a misunderstanding. And that was the beginning of the end. He didn't want to fix the misunderstanding. He just wanted to take me down, ruin my great reputation in the company. So no one would ever want to talk to me again. And I didn't get hired from the job. The irony is he didn't get hired either. They never replaced that manager's job. They saved money. But the point is that we lost our friendship over it. I became persona non grata at this company. Nobody's talking to me anymore at the meetings. Here I am, a people pleaser. I need outer validation like I need oxygen. And no one is talking to me. I am being bullied corporately. And but here's the thing. This works out okay. I punched a hole in the universe that night when I said I was going to do it too. The universe brought it to me in this way. This was the beginning of the end. Okay. So here's what happens. I'm now at a low vibration. I am now in what I call crap magnet zone. I'm attracting all the crappy things to me. I'm being bullied at work. Well, guess what? All of a sudden now I'm being bullied socially. So when I worked in the lab, Chris, the one good year I had was when I got to dance for our professional football team here in Toronto. I used to dance for the Argos. Okay. So that was my one good year. And my parents made so much fun of me that year because I went out on a field with a very scantily clad and they really like put me down. Right. But I did it anyway. So anyway, but I could only do it for 1 year. So now within this group of former cheerleaders, the mean girl, the bully, the one that tells everybody who to like, who not to like, the mean girl who I used to go to all her inner circle parties. I was one of them, when I lived out of alignment and ego ran my show. I fit right into that group. And this woman, now that she sees me vibrating low with a vibrational kick me, I'm a victim sign on my back. Yeah. Guess who starts kicking me too?
Yes.
So now I've lost friends. She's taken my so-called friends over to her side. She's talked crap behind my back and nobody's talking to me socially. Nobody's talking to me at work. I am persona non grata. I go into depression, anxiety, panic disorder, and at my lowest, suicidal ideation, because I said this to my higher power: give me a way out of this hell. That's not drugs. That's not therapy. No disrespect to anybody that takes drugs and therapy for their mental health. They weren't options for me.
Right.
I had done therapy for 2 years when I was a new mom, and I didn't want to go through 2 more years of therapy. And I was a drug rep. I knew what they did to our bodies.
Yes.
And my father also, because he lived out of alignment too, Chris, he had a nervous breakdown in his 50s when he was bullied at work. And
Wow.
he had to go on meds for the rest of his life. He had no other way of coming back. I said, my story will not end like my father's. So I asked for a way out that wasn't drugs, that wasn't therapy, or for a way of killing myself. That was my moment of surrender. That was my bathroom floor moment that Elizabeth Gilbert talks about, where I totally surrendered to my higher power. And guess what? I'm still here. I got away. And that way, yay, not only saved my life, it saved my marriage. I used to live out of alignment from ego and nearly killed my marriage 3 different times. Today, year 33, our marriage, well, it went from hell on wheels to heaven on earth. Okay.
Right.
My mental health cleared up like that. No more anxiety, panic disorder, depression, which I've basically had my whole life on and off. Now it just doesn't happen. It's been like about 12 years now and counting. And then the coolest thing, back to my little childhood dream, I became a professional jazz artist at the age of 51.
I love it.
I work on world-class jazz stages. I work and record on world-class jazz stages with award-winning artists. I'm actually an award-winning artist too. My jazz band, my second jazz band, won Best Jazz Band a couple of months ago in my city. And honest to God, it's like miracles find me because of where I choose to vibrate. You see, I went from this low vibration crap magnet to high vibration miracle magnet. And I'm here to say, any of us can do it. It was divinely gifted to me because I was the lowest common denominator on the planet because of my mental health genetics, of my story. But if it works for me, Chris, it can freaking work for anybody. And it has. And everyone that's gone through the program, you take the online course and then you work a 6-month mentorship program with one of my leaders. Everyone wants to be a facilitator of this work. So honestly, it is such a beautiful system that came through me. I didn't make it up. And my facilitators actually developed the 6-month program. So I didn't even have to do that. But it was something that I was just guided to do because it's like, okay, people need other ways other than meds and therapy to feel better. And let's face it, Chris, COVID times have made people very desperate. We've lost a lot of people. A lot of people are having too much alcohol. They're on drugs. They're just escaping. They're numbing out on all these different things that we know about, right? Like gambling and shopping and sex with strangers and all the crazy crap that happens when we're not happy. And we're looking for outer validation, outer fixes, as opposed to having the fix come from within us. And so I believe that the time is now. So the Love Your Vibe transformation is this system. And I'm shouting it from the rooftops because the world needs it. So there's my story in a nutshell. And I've jumped around a lot, but does it make sense?
It does. It does. And it vibrated with me on several levels. One was that you never gave up. You kept asking the right questions. And that's what transformation is all about. It is, what's the lessons I tell my clients every day, when you wake up in the morning, take a deep breath in, hold it for 5 seconds, exhale, and say, what does my best day look like? Show me.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
Then look for those signs and symbols and synchronicities. That's how you attract positive. Because again, when you're low hanging fruit and in that low vibing stuff, that's all you're attracting to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And in that, it's like, we do have choices.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of 11 children. Out of 11, there's 2 of us that have a college degree.
Wow.
Alcohol's rampant in my family. My father's Native American. My mother was white and she was very controlling. They met in the military. My mother and father were both in the military in this country.
Right. Wow.
The minute she got pregnant, they said, you can't be in the military, but you can be a spouse of the military.
Wow.
Get that.
Wow.
Okay. We're going to cancel you because you're pregnant because you're married, even though you're in the military. She signed up for her own enlistment. That's how they met. And then
Right.
now that she's married and pregnant, she couldn't be that,
Oh, that
that
just makes you want to
focus.
throw up. Yeah.
Well, it is. It is
Yeah.
about the oppression, but the fact is that she, for whatever reason, they had a horrible relationship. It was just
Mm.
like oil and vinegar. There was no other way to explain it. And
Yeah.
he was an
Yeah.
alcoholic. She was controlling. So that was just like throwing gas on the gas on a
Oh,
fire. And
sounds
we
like
as kids were stuck.
codependency.
It
Codependency.
was,
That's what I'm picking up.
and we
Yeah.
were stuck in the middle of it. So it's like,
Yeah.
all these stories you were telling of yourself,
Yeah.
my mother didn't like me. I
Yeah.
mean, when I tell you she didn't like me, she tried to abort me 3 times
Oh my
when I was
God.
in utero. And I asked my oldest brother and I said, what is this? What is this? And he said, well, mom told me that dad raped her and that's how she got pregnant with you. And she didn't want you.
Oh
And
my
evidently
gosh,
the
Chris.
universe had some other idea. And so here I show up. And from that day on, I was the blame for everything. I was
Yeah.
her target for her victimization and
Mm.
bullying. And so when I had my
Wow.
first near-death experience, she took me to the hospital and walked out, left me there, didn't expect me to live. I had ingested some liquid Drano. I was 4. I was hungry. I was
Oh
a
my
kid,
God.
not knowing any better.
Oh
But
my
she took me to the
God.
hospital and left me. And 2 days later, they said, you need to come get your daughter. She's still here. And she goes, oh, she's still alive?
Oh my God.
So the fact was, and then at 8, we get orphaned. So the
Wow.
fact is that and like you, I went through a lot of crazy stuff, some crap stuff,
Yeah. Yeah, I bet.
but I wouldn't change it now for the world
Yeah, that's
because
what I
it
say.
made me
It
who I
made you who you are. Yeah. I would go through every moment of pain and shame and humiliation, being bullied at work and socially, and
Mhm.
feeling like a total pariah, thinking that at rock bottom, my only son was better off without me as a mother. I would go through every moment of pain, Chris, because of who I am now and because of the message that I'm here to share with the world and the movement that this work has become. So I so see you, sister. And I cannot imagine what it was like to go
It
through
was
that.
crazy, but the fact was
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I didn't understand it, but I was
Yeah.
grateful that
Yeah.
near-death experience, I've had 3 of them, that those near-death
Amazing.
experiences
Yeah,
helped
same.
me learn even more lessons.
Yeah.
When you can sit and have this kind of conversation, a little more sailor conversation with your
Mm.
creator, you know
Yeah.
what? That means you're intimate with him and
Yeah.
he knows
Yeah.
exactly where your heart is. And you're saying, I'm effing done with this.
Yeah.
You either
Yeah.
give me the strength to fight off these 2 girls who's trying to murder me,
Mm.
or I surrendered. At 14, I
Wow.
surrendered to just giving up.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had the power of Hercules to push 2 140, 150-pound girls off of me that had poured
Wow.
talcum powder in my face while I was sleeping.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the fact is that I kept hearing this voice, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. I've got your back. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
So the fact is that no matter what, and I guess you didn't define yourself from
Yeah.
what happened in your life.
No.
That's our other connection
Yeah.
is because I didn't define myself. Because when it comes to family life, we didn't have one. It was horrible. Then there was no family life. And then
Mm.
we were so far beyond the tracks. Who gives 2 hoots about an orphan?
Wow.
And there was 6 of us. My youngest
Wow.
sister was 5.
Wow.
So the fact is you can become anything you
Yep.
want to be. It's recognizing that value and that worth inside of you.
Yeah.
And I'm
Amen.
so glad you found yours.
Oh,
I am, because it's the way I see life is that I connect my corner with another high vibing person that's been through the crap
yeah.
and has
Yeah.
come out on top and said, that's not me. Let me show you.
Yes.
And if I can connect with enough people like that, could you imagine what my little corner is going to go from
Yeah.
here to here to here to,
Yes. I love
galactic
it.
to
Yeah.
planetary? Who's going to stop that kind of vibration over us?
Amen, sister. Well, the way you have that vision for the world, and I love it. And my vision for the world is a world where we're all living aligned with our higher self, our higher power, which I believe is one. We're connected, aligned, authentic. Okay. So, aligned with our higher power, higher self, higher purpose, right? Authentic, where we're being truly who we are. We're not putting on masks, pretending that everything's okay, like I did for many years. Big smile, ego, everything's okay. Meanwhile, I was struggling with all sorts of crap and I was a total crap magnet. So aligned, authentic, and fully self-expressed. In other words, whatever's in you needs to come out of you. That's why I was a little girl, you know, who was an artist, but I wasn't allowed to be one. Well, guess what? I became one 40 years later. It's never too late. I am the poster child for it's never too late. And when you do that, miracles happen, because when I became a professional jazz singer and I got fully self-expressed, well, guess what? Not only did my mental health like get really good, my marriage got really good. Because why? Because I'm being my authentic self. I'm being fully self-expressed. My father died with his real music still in him, sadly. And interesting story too, little side story. My first love was a world-class musician who never had the courage. He never read a note of music, but played by ear, was in a little band. Could you remember a band called the Cranberries back in the 80s? Okay. So my first love was in that band, played every instrument by ear, was in this band, but never had the courage to record his own music. And last year when COVID hit, he died of cancer, mental health struggles, marriage in shambles. He never recorded his album. When he heard that I did my album at Jazz Bistro, a world-class jazz venue, he's like, you were able to do what I wasn't. And I said, well, why don't you freaking get off your ass and do it? Because you're only 1,000 times more talented. But he didn't have the right mindset that allowed him to become fully self-expressed. This is why I believe the mindset is so important to be who you truly are meant to be. Because I think if we had a world full of people who were aligned, authentic, and fully self-expressed, Chris, it could be heaven on earth.
I agree. Absolutely agree. Yeah. But not only that, but the thing is look at the programming and the cultures and traditions that get put into our world and the stigmas.
Yeah.
That because I was raised Catholic.
Yeah.
And it was the Catholic Church that told my mother she couldn't raise 6 kids single in the 60s because that was unheard of. Yeah. Men and women didn't get divorced. So I'm being now targeted by the Catholic Church because my parents can't figure their world out.
Wow.
So the Catholic Church tells her about this place and she leaves us.
Wow.
Walked away. And it was like, oh my gosh, how could you, at that point, the last memory one of the biggest memories I have of her is I'm trying to chase her down and she's trying to drive away.
Wow.
And I'm literally running out of my shoes because they were too big for me. And I'm running on the asphalt barefoot to try and catch her. She looks up in the rearview mirror. It's still now at 63. I can still remember that. She looks up in the mirror and she shifts it into a higher gear and accelerates.
Oh my gosh.
I stopped in my tracks.
Wow.
And my spirit guide showed up and he was like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Gosh.
But I knew hate at 8. I knew such trauma at 8.
Wow.
So I said, this is not me. This is not who I am. I'm not going to be that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I used her as what not to do in life.
Yeah. Same with my father and my aunt and my first love. Yeah. I feel you.
Both of them. I mean, because my dad's Native American and alcoholism runs in the family. And as we know, it becomes genetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the fact is I didn't want to become that person. My brothers, one of them was in the hospital for alcohol poisoning as a teenager.
Yeah.
So the fact is I get it. But if I thought my parents were going to do it this way, I'd take a hard left or a hard right. I didn't know where I was going.
Yeah.
But luckily I had spirit guides that I listened to. I kept my intuition all my life. But when I got into law enforcement, it's like, it's just about the facts, ma'am. It's just about the law. It's black and white. It's this and that. So I had a duality. Like you, I was silenced.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got into law enforcement because my brother was murdered by a drunk driver standing in his front yard. And there was a lot of injustices that happened because his parents helped him cover up his behaviors.
Wow.
And this was one of the most pivotal times in my life that I wanted to avenge my brother's death. That was that hurt child from all those years.
Right.
Justice.
Yeah.
But I had become a mom and my daughter was 1. And I'm like, I'm going to go kill this as blah, 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 and I'm going to, and then all of a sudden I pick up my daughter and I'm like, if I do that, I abandoned her. And
Yeah.
I promised myself I would never do that.
Right. Right.
So you get that realization. So I
Oh,
still had the hate, and
yeah.
forgiveness of myself was the biggest thing I had to,
Yeah.
and I had to learn.
Yeah.
So
What did you have to forgive yourself for? Sorry. What did you?
I had to forgive my thoughts about this man
Okay.
because I kept all that anger and the hate towards him
Yeah.
for what he did to my brother.
Got it.
And I'm the one carrying the anger. I'm the
Yeah.
one carrying the
Yeah.
pain, not him.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
had to end up forgiving myself, going, wow, look at all the crap you put yourself through
Yeah.
because of this anger, this revenge, avenge.
Yeah. You
And
were like
so
Batman. You were like Batman. Sorry. I don't want to minimize it, but that's
no,
kind
no,
of his
no,
story.
but
Yeah.
it is. And it was that dichotomy I was living in. So I was like, wow, he is a human being. He made bad choices.
Yeah.
So I let go of the anger and the hate and the pain. I never excused the bad behaviors,
Yeah.
but I saw him as a human being and his bad choices.
Right.
And that's when I learned unconditional love,
Yeah.
because my daughter helped me get that snap back to reality. Because when you hate in your heart, it's hard to get past that hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you have something that can just totally switch that light switch on and show you that it is love. And from a kid that never had love, all of a sudden now I'm just this like sending love and light out. And I mean, I was a junior Olympic champion in 1974 in swimming, but I
No
was still
way.
I was still in the orphanage, and there was no way I could ever go to the Olympics, but you
Wow.
couldn't take that away from me.
Right. Right. Wow.
So the
You're a
fact was,
freaking badass.
well, I had to be. I had no
Yeah,
other
you're a
option.
champion. Yeah.
I had no other option.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
when my brother was killed, that's when I got into law enforcement.
Right.
And I wanted to help people, ordinary people who were the underdogs, get justice for themselves, to understand the law, to understand crime. And
Yeah.
because I was one of those throwaway kids, 21 years of my career was all about troubled youth. It was all about gang members on the streets, Miami-Dade and Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
Then I went to a high school, which was not a community school. It was the overflow from all these other schools that came to this school. And it was 78% Black, 20% Hispanic, and 2% other. So now it didn't matter. I don't care. I don't see color.
Yeah.
I see kids in need. I see kids with no support system. I see kids that need guidance.
For sure.
And I was there for 15 years. That was the hardest job I ever had to leave.
I bet.
For me, because they didn't know my background. They didn't know why I cared about them. They didn't know why I was helping them out. It wasn't about arresting them, but it was about following the rules, but making better choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you can help 4 homeless girls who don't want to go home because their parents are pimping them out for drugs, they'd rather sleep under a bridge, and you can help. Someone tells you on the sideline, and I went to the counselors and I said, I want them in gym all 4 years. They said, well, they only need 2 years. I don't care. They can have an elective the last 2 years to be in gym.
Yeah.
And so they did it. And these girls, all 4 of them went in the military. They've got great lives. They've changed themselves, but it was because somebody saw the potential in them and cared.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I washed
so
their
beautiful.
clothes every morning, first period. They had gym first period every morning for 4 years.
Yeah.
While they were in there, their clothes got washed. Nobody knew they were sleeping under bridges. Nobody knew they were homeless.
Wow.
I bought clothes, myself and 2 SROs. When a couple of them got sick, we made sure they had the money to go to the health department. The health department would get them prescriptions. We'd take them over to the pharmacy. We would take the money out of our pockets to pay for their prescriptions so that they could stay healthy. However, that's humanity. That's that's not being the chief of security at a high school for the school board police. That's humanity. That's what you do to help out others.
Yeah. Wow.
So it is about being of service.
Phenomenal. Yeah. Yeah.
And not knowing.
And those of and I was just going to say, and those of us that have been to the darkest dark, Chris, we're the ones that have the most passion to help humanity, because like I tried to end it a few other times. I had suicidal ideation, and I had a few near deaths as well, drowning but you know what? We survived for a reason, right? So you had this background and you survived for a reason, and you're here to make the world better at such a high level. That's what I'm getting.
Well, this is the whole reason for this podcast.
Yeah.
Is to showcase ordinary people doing extraordinary things in life, and for themselves and humanity. And most people don't realize what it takes to pull your bootstraps up from nothing when you get to that point where you've lost hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you stood and said, this isn't me.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I just know this isn't me. I want better.
And you know what? That we call that moment in my work, the Love Your Vibe transformation. So I got all these teachings and tools divinely gifted to me, Chris. And that moment you just talked about right there, we call that your IBTT moment, which stands for this: I'm better than this.
Yes.
I'm better than this. And that's what allows you to leap into the next half of your life. And I just absolutely love everything that we've talked about. It's just so inspiring.
But I want to talk about you as the healer.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Oh, because I'm a healer too. And that was the one thing nobody ever knew, that I was an energy healer, that I've been a shamanic practitioner for 35 years.
Yeah. That's amazing. So
how did your path start? What's your modality?
Yeah. So I do a few modalities, Chris. Oh my gosh. So that night at my friend's house, I actually got I'll tell you that story now. I got a reading from a psychic. This is a woman that she's actually the woman who I said was left the industry to become a coach. And she gave me the hope and inspiration to do it as well. And I basically just followed her path. I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I just went to the same school she studied at. And anyway, so that night at her house, this woman tears me aside and she goes, Elvira, I need to talk to you. I'm psychic. I don't want to be psychic. But when I've been drinking, the veil gets lowered. So in other words, she can't help but see what she sees when she's had a martini or two. She wasn't drunk. She just saw this. And she said, I need to tell you this. And I'm like, oh my God, what is she going to tell me? So she tears me into her kitchen and she sits me down at the kitchen stools, and she's knee to knee with me. And she's looking me in the eye and she goes, Elvira, by the way, her dad is a guru in India. So she's very high up, like psychic, like this woman. Right. I believed her. Anyway, she looks at me and she goes, I need you to know that you are a healer. And I'm just looking at her, and I'm a drug rep. I'm selling vaccines for a very big, world conglomerate. And she's looking at me going, you're a healer. And I'm like, no, I'm a drug rep, right? And she's like,
yeah, I'm healing people with pills.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I said, actually, then I remembered, I said, no, I know I'm a healer. I'm a Reiki practitioner. So when my son was little, the poor little guy had issues with his his abdomen. And I won't get into details. If in case he watches this, it might embarrass him. But I would help him by putting my hands on his belly, and it would help him with his pain. And so, that's why I became a Reiki practitioner to help my little boy. So I said, yeah, I know. I'm a Reiki. I know I'm a healer. I'm a Reiki practitioner. And she's, no, I'm talking a much bigger level than that. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, what do you mean a much bigger level than that? And she said, Elvira, I'm talking on the level of a Mother Teresa.
Ooh.
And I was like, what? And I said, you're effing crazy. I said the stronger word. And I walked away. I literally just told her she was nuts and I walked away. Well, guess what? That was when I went into work the next week. My boss is let go. I competed for his job. It was the beginning of the end, you see, Chris, because the universe said, Elvira, you finally connected. You've punched a hole in the universe. Now the universe, see, this is what happens when we decide something, when we know something is ours and we make a decision. The universe comes and fills that hole with the how. You don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just need to know that I'm better than this. This is who I want to be. And the universe will give you the way. And that's what happened for me. I went into work and boss is gone. Male colleague starts, bullying me. The other woman starts bullying me. I hit a place where I can't do this anymore. I either want a way out. That's not drugs or therapy, or I want to die. Well, I got the way out, and I was told it's not just for you, it's for you to share with the world. So now this system has a platform, this Love Your Vibe transformation, where I am actually helping the world to heal with my sound instruments, which I'm going to pull out right now. I'm a jazz singer turned sacred sound healer. So this is the way that I help people to heal, and I do it online on my membership. So yeah, I'm helping people to heal globally. That's what Mother Teresa did. Plus, I have this beautiful group of light workers that want to share their own stories, messages, and magic on my platform. And they're going to help humanity heal, because all of our stories matter, not just mine. So yeah, in a way, I kind of am helping people heal on that level. So now I just shared that with you because I just channeled that, and I hope that it serves at least one person to know that, if you've gone through the dark and you've found the light, or you want to find the light, keep going. And not only will you get there, because it's your intention to get there, your IBT moment, I'm better than this, can help you get there. But as soon as you decide, the universe brings you all the way. And if you connect with someone like me, I can give you a vehicle where you can actually make a very lovely side income by being an inspirational leader, using your story, message, and magic to help humanity. And so that's what we're doing. I've got all these amazing people that have gone through the program. They all want to be facilitators of it. And this group is growing. And that's kind of what Mother Teresa did, right? She helped to heal the world with love. And we're doing it with Love Your Vibe. It's called the Love Your Vibe movement. So isn't that kind of cool?
It is. Well, that's the reason why I wanted to bring it up, because I am so inspired by the things you do. But what I want to talk to you about is you make jewelry.
I also make jewelry. Yeah. So you see that little Om symbol there? I make jewelry with these beautiful symbols on it. And then I put it in my sound bowls, and I bless it with sacred sound and Reiki healing as well. And I'm also a sound Reiki healer as well. So those are my modalities: Reiki, sound Reiki, and sound healing. And I also have a few other little pieces like access consciousness and different things too. But yeah, that's what I do. And also when I'm just singing on the jazz stage, like how many times have I come off the stage where people are crying and I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, Elvira, I can't believe you did that song. It was my mother's favorite. I didn't realize I was still grieving her. And now I feel so much inner peace. And I'm like, cool. I didn't realize I was doing that. But then years later, I became a sacred sound healer. And it makes sense because my voice is helping people to heal from, well, especially grief. I'm finding that grief is that sweet spot for me. If you are holding on to grief, I can help you release it with the sound, with the channelings that come through me. And I'm doing a big session this Saturday with an amazing person. This guy just like totally blows my mind. He's just this world-class dude who, he's struggling with a lot of grief. And I know that he's going to be served that day by spirit through me. And I am so honored to hold space for that healing.
The reason why I asked you about making jewelry is because I learned about divine feminine.
Yeah.
I started making jewelry. I had a jewelry page. I use semi-precious stones, but I make a necklace. I still make this and gift it to people. And it is a medicine wheel out of semi-precious stones. And there's
wow. Do you have one? Can I see it?
Do you have one? I don't have one right here, but absolutely I will show it to you.
Show me. Oh my gosh.
And the fact is that it was one of those things that taught me patience. It taught me to go within, to see how the colors interact, to see how they do. But for me, it always comes back to that warrior side, because for me, two of my biggest gifts is that I cancel contracts, soul contracts, generational contracts, drug and alcohol contracts.
That's
amazing. I have done this for like 20 years.
Wow.
With people. And it's giving them their life back, because people make contracts over nothing with demons.
Yeah.
And they think, this like, oh, that would be great. Yeah, I'll do that for this. But what's after that?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're talking about your soul. Usually when people, they have a lot of blame, shame, and game, they're willing to give away their soul to try to get something better.
Yeah.
And it's actually something worse.
Yeah. Yeah, for
So
sure.
in that, so I love
I
that.
love what you do. I love what you do. Yeah, so
So
beautiful.
in that, but as an artist, I was a poet. I've been published as a poet.
No way. That is
Yes.
so
Back in
cool.
1983, I wrote a poem. I started in
Wow.
law enforcement in 1980. In 1983, I wrote a poem, Cops Are People Too. I did not know how relevant it would be nowadays
Wow.
with all of the craziness and trying to blame
Yes.
law enforcement for everything when it's actually humanity doing humanity bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So in that, I've got some poems, and because you're a singer,
Yeah.
I'd like to send them to you
Please
and let you
do.
put it to music
Oh my gosh. I'll do what I can.
because
I'd
the
be honored.
one of the songs I've labeled it "Boxers to Your Corners," and it's all about the relationships with people, how that when they take a side, they're like a
Mm,
boxer in a corner, and they
yeah.
come out with their opinion, and they come out with their opinion,
Yeah.
they come out
Yeah.
with their opinion, and when you realize when you're in a relationship, is there really any winners? How
Yeah.
about it's
Oh gosh.
compromise? How about it's
Yeah.
I love you? How about it's us?
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful, Chris.
So when you told me that you do the jazz singing, I thought, well, I've got
Oh,
some lyrics that I wrote probably
I'd love to
40
see.
years ago
Yeah, that's
that
amazing.
I'd like
That's
to share
amazing.
with you. So
Yeah, I'd be honored. I'd be honored. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of songs that are going to come through me, Chris, because I just feel like I keep up leveling, and I think writing music like I've done a few things. There's one of my songs is "Till We Meet Again." I wrote it for my dad on the 1 year anniversary of his passing, and I almost feel like, I don't. I became professional after he passed away, but I don't think he's in heaven thinking I'm a slut. I think he's in heaven quite
no, I
proud of
think
me.
no, here's the thing and it's just like when you were telling that story, I felt your dad come to me because he was sorry that he said it. He didn't realize
Mm,
the ramifications because that was his programming.
that was his
That was
programming.
his
Yeah.
cultures and traditions. But we don't realize that. And when we get
Yeah.
so steeped in it,
Yeah.
one of the things the Catholic Church does in their doctrination is you don't question anything. You stand in
Yeah.
what we say. You follow the
Doctrine.
rules.
Yeah.
And so the fact is with that, it's like this is a problem.
Yeah. For
But
sure. For sure.
so he did come to me while you were
Oh my
talking
gosh.
about
Thank
him,
you.
and
Thank
I just
you.
like, well, I have to tell her this because he looked at me when he came up behind me. He says, "You know who I am?" And I said, "Yes." And he
Oh, you're
says,
making me cry.
"Oh, don't cry, don't cry." But he says, "I never realized how I was causing pain to my daughter. That's the last thing I wanted to do."
Of course. He loved me so much, Chris.
He did.
But you know
He was
what?
like, "I never realized. I never understood."
Yeah, yeah. He did the best he could, Chris, just like you said,
Mhm.
that people live unconsciously and they just pass on what they believed, right? And my dad believed this limited thinking that good people are not on stages. But you know what? He did me the biggest favor because he forced me to do it later in life so that I could show others it's never too late for you as well, right? And this is the gift he gave me. The gift of living out of alignment for 27 years and being an imposter, people-pleasing crap magnet and showing people it's never too late to come over to this side. So I'm grateful for my dad. I truly, truly am, because I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. The story was perfect as it was. If he had said, "Sure, Elvira, you want to be one of them? We'll get you in singing classes, acting classes, dancing classes." Well, you know what? I could be on Broadway right now or Hollywood, or
Or
I
more.
could be starving, or I could be starving. It
Mhm.
wasn't meant to go that route
Yeah.
for me. My story was meant to go the way it was. And I'm
But
so
he did show
grateful.
up.
So
Yeah, but
grateful.
he did show up, and he was like, I never knew that how I was
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
was hurting her so.
Yeah.
Because
Thank
you
you,
never told
Chris.
him. You never told him.
Well, how could I? He was my daddy and I wasn't going to go against him, right?
I agree. I
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
But you did offer a sound healing to my audience.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I'm going
So
to close with the sound healing because I actually have a coaching appointment coming up shortly.
no
So yes,
problem.
I just want to bless your audience with this beautiful crystal 432 hertz C. Okay. This is a very, very, you know all about this, Chris. This is the hertz of Mother Earth, the frequency of Mother Earth, and also the frequency of our heart. Is that what you were telling me earlier? Yeah. And so this is a powerful tone, and I'm going to combine it. This is my little sort of chocolate peanut butter combination. My mentor would say, this is Koshi bells. And it's a Japanese instrument that is just so beautiful. I could just listen to this all day. It's very, very healing. So I'm just going to invite everyone to just close their eyes and receive these tones and this blessing for your highest and best. Great Spirit Divine, bless my beautiful brothers and sisters. Allow them to shine their beautiful light in this world. Namaste. 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 The God in me honors the God in you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. What a joy. What a joy to be here. I'm so honored.
Hold on one second. It takes a special kind of individual to dream their thoughts and their ideas and turn it into their reality. Elvira, I said it right, Elvira has done just that. She stepped past her fears, stayed the course, and had the courage to do the follow through. Elvira, you've championed yourself. Now we know who you've become. Thank you for sharing your ideas, your thoughts, your dreams, and your healing with us here today.